closer and closer to being like a real movie, like a real movie experience. But again, just back to the question, can we expect any new items from 3D Realms in 2009?
Yeah, we are developing a game that is called Duke Nukem Forever, and I will say that we're on the final stretch of that game. I'm not going to name a date that was coming out or whatever, but the light is up into the tunnel, and we're making very quick progress on it. And I'm excited about seeing that project every day, because I know that finally, we're what we did about a year ago. For anyone who saw this project, I know the project's been going for quite a while, but what we did about a year ago was we brought in new project leadership and so on, and we were kind of operating on the same processes that game companies operated on in the 90s. And for a project this ambitious, it just we're always playing catch up. We turn the tables around, and we think that we're on the final stretch run for this game, and so that's where I'd say. But we have actually a couple of projects, big internal project, and we're working with some unannounced external projects. And the way things work, though, is we just can't go announcing these things. We work with publishers and so on who want to market these things in specific ways, want to time the announcements to sort of maximize the benefit of it and so on. So you're not going to get me to announce any dates here.
No. But if you had to say, greater than 50% chance Duke Nukem Forever is going to be released before the end of 2009.
Well, if I were to even answer that would be headline news across half the gaming industry.
Okay. All right, but anyway, you are. It is getting in the final stretch of Duke Nukem Forever. Then is what you're saying.
Yeah, even that's going to get posted all within, I guarantee you. As almost as valuable as that statement really is when you analyze it. But really, what I'm trying to convey here is that for anyone who's interested in Duke Nukem Forever and knows that it's been in development for quite a while.
Yes.
It's not a project that's going to keep on staying in development for a while longer. It's not going to be, talked about as an ongoing joke or whatever for much longer. That's really the best I can pin it down.
Yeah, I feel bad for you that it has become a little bit of a joke around the internet circles and the gaming circles that it has taken.
We deserve all the thinking that we get, because the reality is it's not what we wanted to happen. We were sort of a victim of being too ambitious, trying to remain too small of a studio, hanging on to the development processes of last decade and so on.
Yeah.
And but that's all been turned around now, and things are looking really good.
Well, great. I'm happy to hear that. And I know in a previous interview you had mentioned that you were a little too ambitious, and with the vision that you had was too advanced for the hardware or the software that was available to make it as spectacular as you would want it. And that kind of delayed it, and you had to go through some project management changes and this and that. Now, that brings me up to a topic. What are the latest technologies that we can expect in the gaming industry and with consoles over the next year or two? We hear people who follow technology trends know that the cards, the graphics processing units are getting so much faster, and the software, the physics engines are getting so much better. Are we going to notice any real jump in performance or in special effects in the games coming out over the next year or two?
Not really. Now, here's why I say that, because
okay.
When new consoles, like right now, we're sort of like in the middle of the current console generation, which has basically three main players. That's the Xbox 360, the PS3, the PlayStation 3, yeah, the PS3, and the Wii, the Nintendo Wii.
Yep.
These are hardware platforms that are sort of like and
that's
you might.
2013 is what you're saying. The next generation of consoles will be developed.
That's sort of the reading I'm getting
Okay.
from other developers I've talked to who have more inside knowledge than me, and so on. Is that it's really in the best interest of these console manufacturers like Sony and Microsoft to not come out with new consoles as often. It would be, if Microsoft and Sony could come to some agreement, which I'm sure would be illegal, but they could come to some agreement that says, let's keep this generation riding for 10 years before either of us come out with a new console. It would be much more profitable for them to do that, because then the base would grow much bigger. The cost of creating these consoles would continue to drop, as the hardware that they provided to make these things keeps falling. It's very expensive to come out with a new console. It's just very, very competitive for these companies like Microsoft and Sony
to develop.
They're very good to each other. And like Sony, for instance, when they came out with the PS3, they were losing money. I think they're still losing money.
I think so.
What's that?
I think you're right. In fact, I remember the original price wasn't at $599 for the PS3, and the bill of materials on that thing was something like $850 or so. I thought I had read that.
Right, and now I think they're only losing a little bit of money on each one sold. And they try and make that up, of course, by selling a lot of games. And from what I've heard, Sony is still hugely in the red as far as the PS3 goes, because they haven't come close to making up all that money they've lost. So, I'm sure, anyway, what I'm trying to say is that, we're not going to see a big jump. Now, we're going to see developers get better and better at taking advantage of the power that's in the current consoles. We'll see that over time, but that's sort of an incremental improvement. We'll see a little better physics, a little bit better graphics, a little bit better AI, that kind of stuff. But it's going to take the next console generation to come out before we see, this massive leap that we always see between each console generation.
And I see someone in the chat is one of the discussions that came out is, will Duke Nukem Forever be multi-platform, console and PC?
Yeah, the answer there is yes.
Okay.
I mean, before we've always been just a PC developer, but nowadays, the consoles is where everyone's making their money, so we can't ignore that market, or else, we wouldn't be around much longer.
Right.
So you've really got to sort of make these games really for the console first. You've got to make sure that the console, the games take advantage of the controllers that the consoles have, and just all the features that the consoles have. And that's really where pretty much every developer is focusing as their primary platform. They'll pick either the Xbox or the PlayStation, and one of those is the primary platform, and the other platforms are sort of the support platforms, or the ones that are secondary.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks for answering that. And now, say it does take a couple more years, maybe 2013, before we see the next generation of consoles arriving. When they do arrive, are we looking at, do you expect a huge jump in the visual and audio presentation? I mean, there's been a lot of prediction about full immersion, audio and visual, virtual reality coming with our advancing computer technology. Now, I know you're not a hardware expert, obviously, but I know that you follow this type of stuff. I mean, are we going to see anything like 3D involved in the next consoles? A huge upgrade like that?
There's ways to do 3D that we might see. For instance, a lot of people have seen, there's like a YouTube video